Hey guys, and welcome to the second episode of Coffee with Chris. Grab your coffee and let's hang out. Alright, so today I want to talk about why reading is essential, but also a waste of time. Now I know what you're probably thinking, Chris, how can reading be essential, but also a waste of time? Well, don't you worry, because I'm going to tell you. So, reading is essential. You know, it's an essential part of life if you want to continue improving yourself. You could, alternatively, in the same breath, we can talk in the same way about YouTube, podcasts, anywhere where you can consume content. And books are just that. They're physical pieces of content that you can consume. Right? So reading is essential. Right? It's how people communicate, put out their ideas, and it's how you learn. I mean, all throughout, school, I don't think they do it much anymore, but, I had physical books I had to carry around. I would have reading that I had to do, was supposed to do. And even today, I love reading. I've got tons of books about, business, biographies, marketing, programming, a ton of books, right? And I love to read. And for me, it's essential for learning new ideas. Each book is on a specific topic, and they go usually in depth about something, whether it is how to market yourself, how to grow a business, how to develop an application. So it is essential in that matter, right? But we also can consider that it could be a waste of time. Now, when is reading a waste of time? Chris, you just said that we learn from reading. How could it possibly be a waste of time? Well, when we're starting something new, whether it's a business or trying to build an application or trying to take any sort of action, right? You have something that you want to do that requires action. It might be new. It might not be new. But it's a challenge, right? Regardless of what it is, it's typically new, typically a challenge that you're trying to take on. And in those instances, right, in those cases, reading can be a waste of time. So here are the ways reading can be a waste of time, right? And I'm not saying that reading is a waste of time. I just said it was essential. But when can it be a waste of time? Well, if you're ever trying to do something, or want to do something rather, but you feel like you need more information, you feel like you need to learn more, figure something out more, that's typically when it's the biggest, that's the biggest indicator that it's a waste of time. Like, oh, I want to build this business. Oh, but I need more information first. I need to learn about marketing or social media or, whatever it is. Because once I have that information, then I'll be able to start. Oh, but then you read that book, you finish it, and then on to the next book. Like, oh, that book was good. Oh, but I really like this book. And I've been watching this guy's YouTube videos. He has really great ones. And he has a book. I need to read his book. His book is going to have more information. And then with that information, I'll be ready to start my business. And then you read that book, and then you do the same thing over and over and over again. Until it's days, weeks, months, years later, you still haven't taken an action. You still haven't done anything with all those ideas you have because you're too busy trying to get more information to feel comfortable starting something. And then you get to be older, typically wiser, sometimes not, and you look back and you're like, man, had I actually taken action back then, how much further would I be now? I would be now where I wanted to be back then, but never actually took any action. So when we look at like reading, learning, whether you learn through podcasts or YouTube videos or, whatever medium your choice is, if you find that you are doing that, looking for new pieces of information, spending more time consuming rather than creating, that's when you need to take a step back and ask yourself, what's really going on here? Could I be procrastinating from something I want to do because I'm not comfortable? Because I'm afraid of what's going to happen, afraid of what people are going to say, afraid of how it's going to work out. That was me. Hello. You're not alone. I was so afraid of what people were going to say, comment, think. I don't really care about haters on the internet, but I care about haters that I know. And when it comes to people that care about, or, if you're married, your wife's family, what are they going to think? It's easy to get hung up on what other people are going to think. But they typically aren't in the same place as you. I was asking for business advice back when I wanted to start a business. I didn't really have anybody in my life that ran businesses, created content. I was working at Starbucks at the time, and I would talk to the people around me about the business that I wanted to start. And I would get ideas from them. I would talk to them, which was, it seemed helpful at the time, but none of them owned businesses. None of them knew. None of them were entrepreneurial in any way, shape, or form. So they can't help me. They don't understand. They have their own biased opinions about why it won't work, right? Because if they knew it worked, they would just do it themselves. So it took me some time to figure that out and how ridiculous that was. And then really it just came down to stop worrying about what other people think. You have to stop worrying about what other people think. And that's easier said than done. Right? It's easy to say, I'll just stop worrying about what other people think. So people say that all the time. So let me just tell you what I did. I looked at myself and I said, am I trying to provide value? Am I trying to improve people's lives with what I'm going to do? If that's the case, then I don't care what anybody else has to say, right? I don't care if my family thinks this is a dumb idea or it's just a hobby on the side. I don't care if my wife's family thinks that I'm wasting my time trying to build this. They're free to have their own opinions. I'm happy to talk to them about it. We can converse, we can discuss how to not make it a waste of time. But ultimately, you have to look at yourself and say, what am I trying to accomplish here? My goal with Coffee with Chris isn't to try to sell people something. It's to provide value into their lives. So ask yourself what you want to do. Ask yourself, what am I doing it for? Am I doing it because I love it? Am I doing it because I want to make money from it? Eventually, yeah, it'd be great to make money from advertisements or sponsorships with this show. Not there today, but that's okay because I like sitting here with you. I like doing this. This is actually going to be a longer episode than I originally planned, but that's fine. Another just piece of history from my life. Back when I first started building a business, right, I was concerned about the money. I was concerned about how much money I would make. That was my focus. That was my intent and my goal. My goal was customer numbers because of the anticipated dollars I would get and lifestyle I could have. You can't look at it from that perspective. It's brand versus selling, right? People who start a business and just try to sell. Sure, you can probably maybe be okay, but you're not going to be anywhere near as good as you would be if you went out to provide value and build your brand. To take this back around to where we started, definitely read, definitely learn, or learn however you want. I just use reading because I love reading. But if you find yourself, challenge yourself to create more than you consume. That should be a daily challenge every single day. Create more than you consume. Right? And if you don't know what to create, there's plenty of places, groups where you can ask that kind of question. Comment down here below. Let's talk. I'm happy to sit with you for 5 minutes and brainstorm on what you could do. Because that's just, I love doing it. So, again, to circle back to the whole point of this episode, right? Reading, learning is essential. You should continue learning. We should learn new things every day. But don't let that stop you from taking action on the things you really want to do with your life. So that's all I've got. I set my coffee down because I have things to say with my hands. So if you're listening to the podcast, just FYI, you totally missed out on me throwing my hands around. So guys, I hope you got some value out of this video or podcast if you're listening on the podcast. If you did, please go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications on new videos, which, if you watched the last episode, I wasn't quite sure if this is going to be daily, weekly, monthly, bi-monthly, semi-annually, annually, whatever the longer time period is. I don't actually know off the top of my head. Doesn't matter. I'm leaning towards multiple times a week. This is fun. I like doing it. I've been excited about it. I'm excited here doing this. So that's where we're at. But please, subscribe, like. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment below. Let me know where you want this to go. Please.